Hello, happy Monday morning. I guess it's actually 2:51, but I guess I slept in late today because I had a rough weekend, I guess you could say. And by rough, I mean I really didn't accomplish very much besides sitting around and watching videos on Facebook Watch, and then posting them under only me so that I didn't bombard everybody with, you know, videos about whatever celebrities and et cetera, et cetera. I kind of do that. But anyways, it's been rough because like last week, for example, when I talked about like everything that's going on with Rosalie, I was pretty calm, cool, and collected, and or at least I tried to be. And I felt okay in terms of the bipolar disorder. I felt like I was pretty happy, and um, I talk about support system a lot, and I'll explain to you guys what a support system is, to the best of my ability. So, what is a support system? Um, it's your family and your friends and your colleagues to a certain extent, mentors, um, I guess any online community that you can find, therapists, doctors, social workers, etc. I need to apologize to a couple members of my support team from this weekend. The first would be Cliff. Cliff is my best friend. I met him in 2014 when a psychology professor suggested that if we didn't have the highest GPA as undergraduates, to volunteer, and that would like bolster our resume to get into graduate school. This professor was pretty adamant about, you need to go to grad school stuff, you're good at this stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And so luckily I did decide to, take a chance and volunteer. And I went to a place called Trinity Outreach Center for Hope and met Cliff. And before, which is a homeless agency. And our job was to go around Oak Ridge and do a survey of the homeless individuals, to see what the need in Anderson County was. I'm apologizing to him because the other day he gave me a call and he was like, "Hey, Steph, I saw your videos and they, what's going on? Are you okay?" And I said, I'm, gosh, am I okay? He kind of was wondering why I'm doing this, what my motivation was. I told him that Rosalie is not safe with Daniel on a daily basis because Daniel is abusive. And he asked a question that was a trigger question for me, which was, how do you know? And I said, kind of like, because I just, I do. I lived with this man for years and years, and his abuse is not a small part of who he is. It is it's a big part of who he is. It's just a part that doesn't show all the time. So anyways, what I had ended up explaining to Cliff was that when I say these cuss words, like, what were the ones that I had mentioned? You lazy piece of shit. I've said that over and over, but that's just one out of many. It wasn't, he didn't say them the way that I read them, right? The way where I said, it was more along the lines of yelling. A lot of yelling, a lot of really, really loud, scary yelling. That, for example, he would be like, Venica, conchis madre. Venica, just this hatred that would drip in his voice. And what that meant is, come here. Conchas madre is a Chilean slang word that means your mother's shell, or your mother's vagina. And it's used very commonly. It's a very ugly word, very ugly. And it got to a point of it being like a PTSD reaction when I heard it. So what I'm trying to say is that, Cliff, I'm sorry for yelling at you. I didn't yell at him like, Cliff, I'm mad at you. I yelled at him like, do you want me to show you how Daniel really talks to me? It's not just the words. It's there was an episode of Friends that's like kind of one of the, I like Friends a lot. And it said, I think it was Chandler, and he's like, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. With abuse, it's both most of the time. It really was like venom. It was like this nasty discharge coming out of him, just this ugliness of blaming us for whatever negative, whatever dream he didn't fulfill. One of the videos I watched was a woman from Africa, one of the videos on Facebook that I watched this weekend. And her video was called The Danger of a Single Story, which, yes, I understand how when I talk to people about abuse, they have a tendency to think, but, what about what she did? What about this? What about that? And I got a really good explanation from somebody on the National Domestic Violence Hotline about that. After June 28th, 2019, when I left with Rosalie, which what that means is that I kind of secretly took Rosalie to a hotel in Pigeon Forge when he thought she was just spending the night, so that I could get her away from the danger. I started to call the hotline. And I have called the domestic violence hotline multiple times because my support system, which is my friends and family, was not designed to handle, kind of like if you imagine a net, a big net, right? And you see me up here at like 175 pounds and the net's there. And all of a sudden, not only am I falling into this net, but also I've got Rosalie in my arms too. And we're both falling into this net, and it's supposed to catch us and, cradle us and whatever, get us through. And that's just not realistic. You can imagine we would just be like hanging there kind of. See that, how attractive that was. So yeah, Cliff, I love you. You are, when he and I started working together at Torch, volunteering together, we found out that we do have in common that we have dated people or been married to people who are on the, I guess we could say the spectrum, which is the narcissist, antisocial spectrum. And so we had that in common.